Good morning, Year 4. Welcome to Maths this morning on this Friday. We are at the weekend, so as soon as we get Maths out of the way this morning, I'm sure you're ready to start and enjoy your time off over the weekend. We are going to be looking this morning at finishing our topic on position and direction. And we're going to start this morning with our 5 questions, as always. Try and complete them in the time that you're given, 5 minutes, or as close to it as you possibly can. 2 of the questions will be pencil and paper questions if you need them, and 3 of the questions will be mental strategy questions. The first one we're going to look at this morning is going to be 42 divided by 7. Now this is a straightforward division facts times table question, and it's asking how many 7s there are in 42. So for this case there, we've got 42 divided by 7 equals 6, and we can check that by multiplying these two together. 7 6s are 42. Second question this morning, we're going to look at 5 9s. Well, 5 9s is a straightforward times table question. The only thing I always say, remember that multiplication is commutative. So if you're struggling with the 9s, then you could turn the digits around because it's commutative, and it will be 9 times 5. You will get the same answer. 9 5s are 45. Okay, next question we're going to look at 75 times 9. Okay, first method I'm going to give you is abstract method of short multiplication, standard format. We'll start then with 5 9s or 9 5s. Well, we know from just now's question that that is 45. Okay, but we do need to carry the 4 across into the tens column. Then we have 7 9s are 63, and if we add the 4 in, we get 67. So the answer to this question then will be 675. Now for our second method, I always like a good bit of partitioning, you know that. So if you partition 75, we would get 70 and 5. Now, because we're multiplying by 9, we would have to multiply both bits by 9. So 70 times 9 is 630, and then 5 times 9 is 45. And if we recombine these numbers, 630 plus 45 would give us 675. Next question then, we'll look at question B, 1/3 plus 1/3. Well, over the last few weeks, we've been looking at adding fractions with the same denominator. Remember, the denominator will always stay the same. In this case, then, you can see that the thirds will transfer across and be the denominator in the answer as well. What we do change will be the numerator, and we always add the numerators together. So 1 plus 1 will equal 2. So 1/3 plus 1/3 will equal 2/3. Okay, the last question we've got in our starter this morning is 7,694 plus 7,896. Now we could do straightforward column addition, abstract method, and most of you will use this method, I'm sure. 6 plus 4 then would be 10, and we would have to carry the 1 across. 9 plus 9 would be 18, and then add the 1 would be 19, and we'd have to carry the 1 across to the next column. 8 plus 6 would be 14, plus 1 would be 15, and again we have to carry the 1 across. 7 plus 7 would be 14, plus 1 would be 15. So our answer then would be 15,590. And the other method we could use is partitioning again. We could partition both sets of numbers. First of all, we're going to add the thousands together. So 7,000 plus 7,000 would be 14,000. Then the hundreds would be 800 plus 600 would be 1,400 or 1,400. The tens would be 90 plus 90, which would be 180. And the last part here, the ones column would be 6 plus 4 would equal 10. And if we recombine all of these together, we would get the answer 15,590. Now, if you wanted to check in your head, give yourself a rough idea, an estimate, excuse me, of what the answer might be, you could look at these numbers and round them up to the nearest 1,000. Both of them would be rounded up to 8,000. So if we doubled 8,000, we'd get 16,000. And we can see then that that will be not too far away from our answer. So that's a good way of checking that you're in the right ballpark with your answer as well. Okay, our learning intention today is being able to describe translation of shapes. Okay, so a little bit of a follow-on from yesterday's lesson. Our star words this morning again would be translate, which means to move the shape. Translation, which is the process of moving the shape. Position, we're changing the position of the shape from one point to another point. Coordinate, we've looked at coordinates all the way along. X-axis, remember, is the horizontal axis, and then the y-axis will be the vertical axis. Okay, our in focus task this morning, it says there we've got a rectangle A, B, C, and D. And it says, how can we move the rectangle A, B, C, D so that one of the corners, one of the vertices, ends up at 7, 8? So first of all, what do we need to know to answer this question? And what I want you to do is just have a little think about that right now. What do we need to do to be able to answer this question? Press pause now and press play when you're ready to think, to hear me talk about it. Okay, well, the first thing we need to do is look at this coordinate here. Now the coordinate here is 7 and 8. So you remember what that means. It means that we move across 7 from the y-axis and along the x-axis, and then we move up 8. So we know that one of our points, one of our corners, would have to be here. We then need to think about, okay, what are the possible translations that we could make? So we'll just have a little think about that right now. Okay, this shape here, what we've got here is, if we were looking at 7, 8 as our coordinate point, it would be 7 and 8. So in this case, you can see that this would be the same corner as corner B. Now, if we wanted then to look at this, we would have to move, we'd be showing the translation as being across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 2. So across 5, or to the right 5 and up 2. So right 5 and up 2. Now, if I look at these two statements here that the children have made, this chap here says you move it up 2 units and then 5 units to the right. And this young lady says, well, to translate it, it's 5 units to the right and then 2 units up. Who's correct here? Press pause while you think about that and press play when you're ready to resume. So here we've got the one that's correct will be the young lady here. Although both are giving you the same sets of information, okay, hers is going to be more correct because you are moving across. You're showing the translation as going across first and then up or down. So she's saying translate 5 units to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 2. Okay, so that will be the one that's correct in this case. Now in this case here, still the same question. So we're still looking at 7 and 8 as our coordinate point, but this time it's showing it will be point A that has been translated to this corner. So in this case, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's saying it, she's translated it 4 up and 5 to the right. I would argue that actually you should do it the other way around, that it should be 5 to the right and 4 up. Okay, with this particular shape, again, we can look at, it's still the same question. We know our start point is going to be 7 and 8. This time, it's the bottom right-hand point. It's D that's being translated to this point. So could you tell me, what would the translation be? Press pause, please, and press play when you're ready to continue. Okay, so welcome back. This time then, hopefully you will have said, if we're looking at the statement that the child has made here, it will be 2 units to the right and then 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So the translation would be 2 right, 4 up. Okay, now it's your turn. Now for our guided practice this morning, you've got to describe the translation that results in point P, in this case being at 3, 2. Okay, so you've got to describe the translation here. Now I've drawn the shape for you. Okay, I've drawn the shape for you. The P, okay, is going to be here. So that's going to be how the shape will look once it's been translated. And what I'd like you to do is tell me what the coordinates then would be of the other corners of the shape each time. Okay, so this is the first one. P then would be, we would have to describe the translation. So it would be 2 to the right and it would be 3 down. Okay, and your job then will be to find out what the other points would be if you did the same thing, because that's what's important here, is that the translation here you can see clearly is 2 to the right and 3 down. Well, we have to do the same with the other points as well. So it would be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. Same with R, it will be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. So you can see that you can recreate the shape just by translating every point. Okay, and if we wanted to check what the coordinates would be here, it would be 4 and 3 for this point here, and it would be 5 across and 2 for this point here. So that's just the first one. What I'd like you to have a look at are these two here. So press pause while you're working and thinking, and press play when you're ready to hear me talk. Okay, so the second question then, Q is going to be at 3, 2. So you can see this is Q, and it's going to be 3 across and 2 up. Okay, and what we have then is that we will need to work out what that translation is. So it will be 1 to the right, and it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So it will be 1 right and 4 down. And we would need to do that with the other 2 points as well. So 1 point to the right, 1 place to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And then R is going to be 1 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So we've got then the other coordinates. We know that Q is 3, 2. P then is going to be this point here. It will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and the other one will be 4, 1. The final shape, it says that R is going to be at 3, 2. Okay, so this one here is going to be at 3, 2. And if that's the case, what we would need to do is to work out what the translation is. Well, with this particular point, there is no movement to the right or to the left because it is directly above. So it will be straightforward 1, 2, 3 down. And what we would need to do is move the other points 3 down as well. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And if we wanted to know what the other coordinates were for Q, it would be 2, 3, and for P, it would be 1, 2. Okay, now it's time for your independent learning. I would like you to please complete worksheet 5 on pages 164 to 165 of your workbook. Okay, once you're complete with that, I want you to have a lovely weekend because you're done with your maths for this topic and this learning. And I'll see you on Monday, where we'll be just having the last 2 lessons from our Maths No Problem book before we move into some arithmetic practice between now and the rest of the year, or till the end of the year. So have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon.